Hey, I should be your publicist.
Oh, wait, this is so weird.
Well,
Hearing yourself. Are you comfy? Are you guys too? Come. There's so much room.
Wait, I'm so.
Are you cold? Do you want blankie?
Do you want blankie?
Do you want blankie?
I do love blankie.
Okay. Yay.
Yay.
Oh.
Wait, is it recording?
Yeah, it is recording. You are listening to Phone Eats First. Hi, Tanya.
Hi, Corey.
I have a very special guest here today.
Yay. I'm so excited.
You guys are listening to Phone Eats First, a podcast about romanticizing your life inside and outside of the kitchen. And today we are in New York City. And I have a college friend who now lives in New York City, and she has a foodie wellness Tanya Tastes page.
Okay.
And we're just going to talk about all things New York and her food journey and everything.
Yay.
But first, we'll do the weekly report, which I've done too many recordings in a row, so like all my answers are going to be the same.
Okay.
So I'll just let you kind of give your spiel. But so
Okay,
for
yeah.
our reading, do you have a book or something you're currently reading?
Yes, I just read, actually, I don't know the exact name of the book, but I'm reading a very cheesy rom-com novel right now. I'm in a book club that I love doing here, but we always pick like, I don't know if more serious books is the right term, but I needed to break it up with a very corny
I love the
novel.
rom-com.
So that's what I'm reading something, Colleen Hoover type beat right now. Something like that.
No shame in that. And then eating. What's something you're eating these days?
Ooh, okay. Every morning, it's like without fail, which sounds silly, but Greek yogurt bowl with cinnamon raisin granola and a chopped up Honeycrisp apple. I like wake up excited to eat that, and it sounds not that thrilling, and it very like
Cheering from Lake and Casey.
it's great. That and my coffee probably every morning. I just got a Breville espresso machine as a gift.
I saw her. She's beautiful.
I'm obsessed with her, and so making my coffee and eating my yogurt is my favorite thing.
Yes. What kind of coffee do you do? Just like latte?
I do an Americano with oat
Ooh.
milk, and right now a little bit of peppermint mocha creamer because it's December.
Question. An Americano, I thought that was water.
Water, but you can add like a little splash of milk. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Makes sense. There you go. Then it's like less milk, like what you're talking about.
Yeah,
How coffee
yeah.
is literally just a glass of milk with
I like it
a
to
drop
be,
of coffee.
Yes, I think it's a little bit stronger this way, so I prefer. So I like it.
Good to know. All right, plan something going on in your life or something exciting coming soon.
I was just telling you this, but I'm going to India in December for the first time in like I think 11 years, and so I'm very excited. Going to see family, go to a wedding. We're gonna do sightseeing, and then we're ending the trip in Dubai. So I'm really excited for that.
Oh my God, that's amazing. Have you been to Dubai?
No. And I haven't even been to a lot of places we're going to in India. So I'm definitely very much looking forward to it.
Good. That
Excited.
sounds so fun. The content is going to go crazy.
I know. I was like, I'm going to vlog. I actually got like a Canon G7X finally for Christmas. So I'm very excited. So I think I might vlog the trip, even just for my own memory.
No, please do. I will watch like literally every second of it.
I was like, I literally have absolutely not one YouTube subscriber, but I was like, maybe I just throw it up there.
I mean, that's what this podcast is. I have like very few listeners, but it'll get there one day.
Yeah,
you know?
that's what you gotta keep going.
Yeah. Okay, something you're obsessed with.
Ooh. Wait, I have to think about this.
No, it could literally be even like your espresso machine that you just got.
I know, it is my espresso machine. If we're going on the coffee note, probably seasonally here, La Colombe does their like oat draft things. And so right now it's gingerbread.
We actually went there yesterday.
Oh my God, it's so good. It's my favorite thing ever. And so it's like a 20-minute walk for me. So I'm like obsessed with doing a Friday like little coffee walk, getting my like bougie coffee out because it is literally $7.82 for a small coffee.
Not to be specific.
It's so specific, but yes, that probably.
Well, so we actually went there yesterday, and we didn't get anything because the line was long, and we went in so many coffee shops yesterday, but I didn't get it there. And then we went to, what was the place we ended up going with? Like, it had a really long line for like Circle.
Lafayette.
Oh, did you go? Did you get the croissant?
No, but the line was so long.
The line is heinous.
And we asked the lady, like, is it really worth it? And
It's not. I've heard it said
No, but you can still like skip the line. And she was like, just don't order the Circle croissant. We're like, I swear, we won't order the Circle croissant. And she told Casey like it's not worth it.
Yeah.
But then I tried to order a gingerbread latte, forgetting that we weren't at the other place, and he was like, oh no, we don't have that. And I was like, Right, you're right. You don't have that.
Like, thank you so much for clarifying.
He was like pretty confused, and then he like apologized. I'm sorry we didn't have that. I was like, no, I literally thought we were
Like,
somewhere else.
This is a me problem. This is not a
Yeah.
you problem, sir.
Yeah, so that happened. Okay, a recipe that you have or like to make all the time,
Ooh, yes.
which I know you have a million.
Oh my God. Probably my salmon curry is like hands down. I feel like I can make that. I always say my dad is like my harshest critic because he is very just like blatant. Like if he likes something or if he doesn't, he'll be like, he won't say anything if he doesn't like it. But if he does like it, he'll like pipe up and be like, oh, that was actually really good. Like actually really good. And that's his recipe that every time I make it, he's like, oh, this is actually really good. And like, oh, when I come home, he's like, oh, will you cook that one night?
Oh.
And so it's really easy too. I think it's like the simplest thing ever to make. And it's just, especially in the winter is my favorite.
Every time you make it, I'm like, I need to make that.
Every time I don't make it for a long time, I'm like, oh my God, I forgot about this. I'm like, this slaps.
Yeah. And you just serve it over like rice, broccoli.
Serve it over rice. I feel like sometimes I'll like sub noodles, but mostly it's been very much Trader Joe's microwave rice. Honestly, listen, we can't get crafty. We have to just use the 3-minute jasmine rice.
It's so good though.
It's so good.
Okay, and treat. It could be food related or not food related, but just something you treated yourself with.
Ooh,
Or like to treat yourself with.
like okay, what's my favorite? I'm trying to think about current. These are not like, it's kind of a silly treat, but I don't know. Lily's dark chocolate chips. I eat
I've never
like
had those.
4 handfuls every day.
I thought you were gonna say like 4 like morsels.
No. I just like, I like have my TV time every night, and I just go and like every like 10 minutes of the show, I'll go and grab another handful of the chocolate chips. And they're good because I like darker dark chocolate, so they're not like too overly sweet.
Yeah.
And they're just they're my favorite treat. They're great.
That sounds delicious.
Everybody needs a little something sweet after dinner.
And like just all
And
throughout the day.
Actually, every single
Yeah.
meal.
Yeah. I'm like after breakfast, like, can I have chocolate
Yeah.
yet or what? Okay. Well, that was the weekly report. And
Yay.
so now I just come to talk about your New York faves.
Yes.
Like restaurants, coffee shops, cocktail places, just kind of like whatever you love.
Okay, yeah. I actually just sent this text because one of our friends from college was visiting, and I just sent her like a list of.
I mean, I have one of your lists too, like screenshot I've saved for forever.
I think like every time people ask about favorite restaurants here, my boss is the one that told me this. Like, it's very dependent on like vibe, price range.
Yeah.
Like exactly like what
Where
what do you
in the
look
city
at
you
where
are.
like, because otherwise it's too hard. There's just everyone knows there's endless restaurants here, so it's very, very hard to do. But maybe I'll go by like a new one, like an old favorite, and like a reliable one. I just went to Fish Cheeks for a birthday dinner on Friday. It's like Thai fusion of some sort.
I love Thai food.
It was like, I'm like, this sounds silly, but I'm never blown away by like chicken dishes at restaurants because they're always like, I don't know, it's chicken.
Yeah.
This was like the best piece of chicken I've ever eaten in my whole life. It was maybe that's dramatic, but it was really good.
Yeah.
That place, I feel like old, reliable, a couple, like I'll have places that I'll sometimes bring people to, but they're kind of like, for me, like I know I can get a table there. Like I know I can sit there. I feel like Cafe Mogador, that's one of them. It's like not anything to run home to mom about, like the food. Like it's good food, but it's like, you just know you can sit. Like we were just talking about Ruby Rosa, and like Ruby Rosa slaps, but you can go there like, you can go at 5:15 or you can go at like 11:30.
Yeah,
or you can wait.
Casey made a reservation at what time? Like 12:01? Or 12:00. Yeah. And the options were 6:15 or 10:45.
Yeah,
So we were there at 6:15, which is still a good time.
Yeah,
But
it's,
I mean, that was a great time.
yeah.
yeah. New York is just like hype beast restaurant era vibes. Other favorites, I feel like in the line of like, you know, hyped up things, Soothe is also Thai. That's like an old reliable. Always go back there, but they don't. I also have a big thing that I like places a lot that don't take reservations. Thursday Kitchen is another one. I think it's like, I actually don't know what kind of Asian food it is, but like maybe it's like Korean or Chinese fusion something. But like another place that's so good but doesn't take reservations. So it's like, I am very much in the game of I don't mind like going, getting a drink, waiting, doing the whole bit. Like especially because dining here is like a hobby.
Yeah.
Like, it's really an experience. Like,
Especially for you.
yeah, it's very like, I feel like if I can make a whole evening out of just going and like getting dinner, like doing the whole bit, like getting drinks before, like I like that.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Do you think the food's better if you have to wait?
I think that I'm hungrier, and
Yeah.
so I think everything tastes better.
And then
when
you
you're
can't
hungrier.
decide on what to order.
Yeah. I'm also like pretty heavily studying a menu before I go somewhere because, ordering anxiety for sure. But yeah, I think it does. It tastes better if you wait. Good things come to those who wait.
Yeah. And then do you have any favorite coffee shops or cocktail bars?
Ooh, yes. Okay, cocktail bars. Actually, Gramercy, like where I live, Sci Bar is this place. Very cute. Like, this is maybe a little bit of a sidetrack, but I like it a lot because I went on a date there actually once, like a very long time ago. And when I'm on like order on dates, I get a little bit nervous. And so I'm like, oh, just whatever you have, like whatever. And so that was the first place I'd ever had mezcal in my life. And now like, because I just ordered impromptu and it came. And now I have him to thank for that because now I only drink mezcal. Or it's like my favorite liquor to drink and drinks. That and then Goodnight Sunny is another. It's just like a kind of it's not divey. It's because the cocktails are $18, so it's not divey.
Yeah.
But they have an East Side on their menu, which is like my favorite drink of all time. But like I make this complicated drink order where I do like an East Side, but then I sub it with mezcal and I get it served up, and like it's this whole thing. And my boss is the one who also introduced me to East Sides, and now every time I'm with people, everybody orders them, and so we always.
Wait, so what is that?
Okay, so it's traditionally made with gin, cucumber, mint, lime, like simple syrup.
That sounds really good.
It's like everything you love about a margarita, but better. Mm-hmm. And
But I also
like,
hate gin.
So I hate gin. So my boss gets it with vodka. I get it with mezcal. All the friends that I've introduced it to get it with tequila because I feel like most people are gin haters. Like my mom and my sister are the only two people I know that like gin.
It also is like known to make you hungover. The
It
most
also-
like the Crunkleton in Chapel Hill.
Yes.
What's that?
Oh, it's called, what is it? Their gin drink. It's like a gin
It's kind
sour.
of like what you just said, honestly.
Yeah.
I had 2 of those and I've never been more hungover in my life.
No, it also literally just tastes like a Christmas tree. Like gin tastes like a Christmas tree. Like,
But not in a good way.
Not in a good way.
That's so funny.
So yeah, Goodnight Sunny, Sidebar, and then just like, where are their cocktail places? I feel like cocktail places are a lot of the ones that I'll try, like, if I'm just in the area, I'll pop in because you can't go wrong. Like, paying for bad food in New York will make me very agitated, but paying for, like, a drink here and there, I'm like, oh, it's not that deep,
It was
so I
also
can
like
try.
cheaper than food.
Yeah.
And you're not like literally relying on like your hunger level.
Yes. And then wine bars. I feel like I love going out like that, like date spots, girls' nights, like West Village, St. Jardim, really cute wine bar. And they also have brunch. They have good brunch. Temperance Wine Bar, also in the West Village, one of my favorites. And just like any of those places that I've gone back to multiple times, I always like people recognize you, or like people will remember,
Yeah.
and then like they're nicer to you, and like that's like my favorite. Like I
Yeah.
feel like that's when places start to feel like homey and like you know.
Except for your bagel place this
Except
morning.
for my bagel place.
That knows you're cheating on them.
She was like, I literally haven't seen you in forever. And I was like panicking, telling her I've been out of town for 6 months. Like, she's like, knows I'm lying.
Yeah.
It's very funny.
Well, thank you for sharing your faves.
Of course.
Now, just kind of, I want to ask about your general life in New York. And you can either like compare it to how you grew up or just like what you love about it, but what it's really like to live in New York. And
Okay, yes. Yeah, I have so many thoughts on this because I feel like especially my first year here, people would be like, "Oh my god, like it's looks so fun, like you're doing so well, like blah blah blah." And like it is like it's very fun, but like I joke a lot about I think your freshman year in New York is like the hardest year. Like you're drinking all the time, you're trying to go out, you're trying to make friends, you're trying to keep friends, like it's so, I mean, that's any first year out of college also is just like the biggest transition time of your life. But I do think New York it's harder. Like you don't have a car, like all of these like little things that you did, or especially for like us in North Carolina, like conveniences, like knowing where I was, like knowing my surroundings. Like I have lived in North Carolina for pretty much, I was like, what, 5 to 21. So like pretty much my whole life. And I had always like glamorized New York, and I like visited so much, and I was like, concrete jungle, where dreams are made of. I was like, and I mean, it's not that for sure.
yeah.
It's definitely not that. But it's like, it was a very harsh reality. It was like a much harder transition than I thought it was going to be. But I think after the first year now, I can like very confidently say that I love it here so much. And I think all of the downsides that New York has, like it becomes like this love-hate relationship, but then you're like, but I love you more than I hate you, so it's okay.
Yeah.
Like the little things, like, you know, January to April, like ask me again when it's still cold to like the end of April here is very depressing. But like summer and fall and like this time, like December is so pretty. It's so beautiful and makes you love New York. But so also my first year here, I hated my job. I got my like quote unquote dream job out of college, and it just ended up being like the worst experience ever. It was fine for like the first couple months, and then they basically just like were bullying me, like my whole company. It literally, I was like, had to do my regular job, and then I was also a glorified intern, and it was just so terrible vibes. And so I think that also contributed a lot to like my first year being harder than maybe it should have been, because obviously your job just takes like a very big mental toll on you. Like if you
you put so much life into it and like hours of your day.
It was very, very bad. But I was going to do this other internship out of college, moved to San Francisco actually, very random. And then I ended up not doing that, moved to New York instead. But I met this girl who I'm still very good friends with on Instagram through like the internship. And she actually introduced me to like so many people and like some of my best friends here. And so I think that, and obviously she's still one of my best friends too, but I think that that is also one of my favorite parts of New York. Like just the meeting, like people are so keen to meet each other. And I think this city is like 100% like fosters connection way better than other places. Like I think people are always like, oh, New York versus LA, New York versus whatever. But people here want you to be friends with their friends. They want to introduce you to people, like, and they like genuinely want to maintain friendships. And I don't feel weird like reaching out to people, like making friends, all that stuff. So this friend actually, she like made this big 11-person group dinner at Donnie and G, which is like one of the hardest reservations to get here. And it was so random, but like so much fun. And I was actually, I think, bitching about my job or something at the dinner. And one of the girls there who I like wasn't as good of friends with at the time just kind of randomly was like, oh, like I work for this like really small like hospitality agency, but they're so cool. And like my bosses are like incredible. Like I think they're kind of looking to hire somebody. Like you should just like hit them up. Like I'll give them your email, like all this stuff. So I was like definitely looking to jump ship at my job at the time, but I just like had no idea this would be something serious. And so I ended up like meeting with them, talking, and I'm like an independent contractor now. So it was like a little bit more of a stressful jump. Cause you know, I mean, you don't get benefits and stuff, but like it's flexible work schedule, flexible hours, all of that. So I started the job, and then it actually like, it's the same job I'm working now. And like, I love it so much. And her and I ended up becoming like besties. Like we got so close. She doesn't work there anymore, but we like got so close. Like it really like brought me one of my greatest friendships, like brought me like, I love my job now. So like much makes New York so much better. And I work in hospitality. So I do like social media management, marketing and stuff for restaurants, bars, hotels here. So it's like very up my...
Yes, it sounds perfect for you.
It's perfect. It's very up my alley. It's helped me like, it's a very like social job. Like you get to like talk to a lot of people. And I feel like I never connected food and hospitality. And I think like, which sounds silly, but I don't know, like when you're...
They're separate categories, it seems like.
Yeah, and like I didn't realize how much crossover and like how much I enjoy it. So I was like, I don't know, New York, I don't think that would have ever happened like outside New York. Like this specific of like people introducing me, making connections, all of these things. Like, so I'm very grateful to the city for that. Yeah.
That's good. That's good. And have you moved in New York? I mean, now you're in this apartment. So before you were...
Yes.
How was that?
My first year here, I lived in Kips Bay, which is, you know, everybody pays their dues in Kips Bay, your first year that you live here. And that was interesting vibes. Definitely not my favorite, but... And then I lived in a sublease for a while I was waiting to move into this apartment in Chelsea, which was on... Or maybe like Flatiron, Chelsea, but... I loved that apartment. That was like such a fun location to live in, like very close to the train, like very like also just West Side is so beautiful and amazing. But yeah, now I'm in Gramercy and I live alone, which I also never thought I would do before moving here. I was like very much like I could never live alone. Like I would get sad all the time. And it's like my favorite thing in the world. Especially in New York because you are so overstimulated all the time, like outside, working, all of this stuff. So having like a safe space to come back to and kind of make and like curate my own vibe here and like just...
Which you have done.
Thank you.
Very much so.
Thank you. It took me a very long time, but I love it here now. And so yeah, so now I've been, Gramercy, I think I said that, but And now I like the East Side. Now I'm like very strong East Side girl. Like I love it. So yes, moved 3 times, which is maybe not. And now I'll be here for a while, so probably won't move again.
And so how is life in New York kind of different than what you expected, or better than you expected?
I think both for sure. Definitely better in good ways and bad ways. Like I was saying a little bit earlier, but the minor like inconveniences about everything, like walking, like so in my last 2 apartments I lived 5 minutes from, or like 5 minutes or less from grocery stores, and now like this might sound silly, but like I'm a 15-minute walk, which doesn't feel far, but when you're
15 minutes isn't easy.
When you're lugging your groceries back, like I think the little things, like I'm like, okay, I can't buy pasta sauce and another heavy item this week. Like I have to choose one. And I think little things like that I like never expected before being here. Like, and it's just like dumb things where I'm like, I'll get so frustrated because I'm like, well, and like your back is breaking and it's raining and you're walking home and
you can, like, it's also like ashamed to like have one of those carts, right?
Oh no,
like you can't do it.
No, the amount of times my mom is like, get a cart, and I'm like, over my dead body, Mom. I'm like, I'm not gonna be a clown in the streets with my cart. Like, no. So no granny carts, but that little things like that are definitely harder. Like, just kind of, but also I think I realized how much I was never a great driver. So I don't. I feel like you all 3 have ridden in the car with me, and you can very much attest to that. Not a good driver, so I don't miss driving at all. And I actually unexpectedly love walking everywhere, like even more than taking the train. I finally did figure out the train, but I just will like pop a 30-minute walk, and I feel like it's something that sounds kind of silly, but like you're so proud of yourself sometimes when you realize how much you just like get around, like you're always on your feet, like and then I go to other cities that aren't walking cities, and I'm like, this sucks.
We were talking about this last night. It's such a love-hate. Like you get to walk everywhere, but you also have to walk everywhere.
It's like I have certain places where I'm like, especially when it's just like gets so cold is when it gets way worse. But anytime, like I feel like leading up to December from like summer, and then peak summer is also kind of sucks because you're like,
it's 1,000,000 degrees.
Yeah, it's terrible. But it's very love-hate relationship, but mostly I've like learned to love that a lot more. And I feel like I, like you said in the beginning, like romanticizing everything, and like I feel like that is, you really, I think in general have to do that with adulthood.
Yeah,
like,
just with life.
With like sometimes, you know, just day by day is tough, but you have to like the little things. So I feel like when I don't know, I just like make myself be like, oh, this is like such a privilege that I get to like live here and like walk around, and like I'm so lucky, and like all of that stuff. And not every day, but I try to tell myself that most days.
And then also all the little pictures you take along, like literally everything. You're like, oh,
I know.
Like so cute.
And especially like sometimes, I mean, not sometimes, most of the time, New York is very charming. And
yes,
I think that in the first year, it lost like a lot of its allure for me, because it was like, I don't know, like a good comparison, but like, I don't know, the charm wears off. Like you realize you're like here, you're not just visiting, you're not just like,
you're paying to live here.
Oh,
you're not.
My God. I actually didn't talk about that. New York is wildly expensive. I feel like I've been asked sometimes like, oh, how do you budget? You close your eyes and you pay your credit card bill. Like that is what you do. Like there's no budgeting happening. There's no money saving, because everything is insanely expensive. Like in general, when you realize when you're paying rent, you're going out to dinner all the time, groceries, all these things, especially groceries for one, is very tough. I've learned that's like that's hard. It's so much harder than I thought it would be, but expensive. That was another, I'm tying back into downfalls of New York. So much money. Like you cannot leave your apartment without spending $50. Like I stand by that. That might be a little bit dramatic, but like maybe 25, but like every time you leave your apartment, you will spend money. Like
especially here, because you literally have to pay to get around.
You have to pay to get around. Like also they increased the train price. Like disrespectful, terrible. It was what, like $2.50 when I moved here. It's $2.90 now. It's not that bad, but still.
Inflation. Okay, well anything else you want to add about New York?
Just life? I think my final takes are that if anyone is ever thinking about moving here, to like 100% do it. I think I wouldn't like have grown into the person that I am. I think I changed a lot, like not in bad ways, but like good ways. Like from
you're growing.
Yeah, growing. Like I think it pushes you into like just internal growth, external growth, like so many things. Like, and I think it overall has helped me just, I don't know, come into like my personality, like being more appreciative of everything. Like I was saying that earlier, like, you know, romanticizing things, all of that, but like truly like taking a step back and like perspective and like realizing how lucky you are and like realizing like that it's so great to live in the city that like I think especially when I first moved here and everybody was like, oh, I want to visit, I want to come. And I was like, it was so fun. But like then you realize like, oh wow, I actually like, just live in this place that so many people like admire. And like it's like very, it sounds kind of corny, but like
no, it's true. Yeah, like I have the opposite realization because like living in Raleigh, which I do love, but I just like never thought I'd live there. It's like no one's coming to visit me. And why would they? I'm like, are you sure?
No, I also love Raleigh. I like also part of being in New York, I feel like has helped me just appreciate everything about North Carolina. Like, I feel like being in North Carolina for so long, like it was very easy to be like, I need to get out of here. Like I need to leave. And like
totally
now when I'm home and people like are like, oh, where are you from? I'm like, I love North Carolina. Like I was so like I speak very like highly of all my time there. But it also turned me into, you know, who I am too. But this in just a very different way.
Yeah. So definitely. Yeah. Okay, now I want to talk about your food journey.
Oh my God, yes.
How you became Tanya Tastes, but also like you've just had you've had different lifestyles of how you ate. And so just kind of like your journey and how you got to where you are.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so I was like growing up, never had any real, also this might be a lot. I'm gonna really give a lot of information here, so tell us
whatever you do or don't want to share.
Okay. So I was like growing up, ate everything I also played tennis competitively for like my whole life, so I was really didn't think about what I ate. I was a big fast food eater, big like go out to eat, and then also like my mom makes like great Indian food, so like ate a lot of that growing up. Just I really ate everything. Like I didn't think twice about it. No boundaries. And then probably the first time like eating became very apparent to me was when my senior year I quit. Well, I just like stopped playing tennis because I wasn't gonna play in college, and it was like, I guess this is like personal details to come, but that's fine. I'm like very open. I like to share all this stuff, and it was like the first time I just like gained weight, and I was like, oh, like that's crazy. You can't like eat Chick-fil-A 4 times a week, and like it's when you're not playing 6 hours of tennis every day. And so I didn't realize like how much from that moment on, like food just became so apparent in my life, and like definitely slipped into like not the best relationship I had with it. And especially just, you know, starting college, like very hard, like dining hall, like it's just, there's lots of things happening, lots of girls, lots of mindsets, lots of like struggles. You realize like how many people also feel weird about food, and like it's just, I don't want to say like demonizing it, but I did. Like I very much for the first 2 years, especially like freshman and sophomore year of college, just like was not in the best place. Like was like very
just a negative overall relationship.
Just like not my best relationship. And then it like pivoted a little bit and like still wasn't the best, but my sophomore year I found this girl. I don't know if anybody else fell to this scary woman, but Kenzie Burke, she did food combining. And I was like,
never heard of that.
Okay, it's literally so weird, but it's basically, so I also dealt with like really bad stomach issues starting like freshman year, and I was just like very desperate to get rid of them, do anything. And so I found this girl, and it was like food combining, and it's basically like the dumbest rules ever. It's like you can't eat like chicken and rice together. Like you have to eat like chicken and broccoli only, or like you have to eat fruit on an empty stomach. Like you can't eat fruit at night. Like all these like crazy rules. But I was like, oh my God, anything to latch onto, like anything to just like change like my weight, like feel better, like all the stuff. So I got into that, and that's how I kind of just accidentally became vegan, because it was the first summer I was living alone in Shortbread in Chapel Hill. And I, like, everyone just kind of, like, dipped out. So I would be, like, have to cook for myself. And I realized I was like, oh, shit, I've never really cooked before. So I, like, just got scared of cooking meat because I didn't want to give myself salmonella. So I realized for, like, after 3 or 4 months, I was like, oh, my God, I've just been, like, eating vegetarian, like, being vegan. Like, I was like, I could definitely do this. And, like, I don't think that decision, like, in hindsight came from the best place, because I was in this phase where I was, like, really controlling everything I ate, like doing all these weird rules, like all of this stuff, and like I don't know. So okay, fall of 2019, vegetarian. I was in Florence, so fun, eating everything, good vibes. Came back, or actually while I was there, because that kind of taps into Tanya Tastes, we were on just like a trip, and I thought so much about like making a food Instagram. Like I don't know, I was like, maybe not coming from the best place at the time, but I was like, oh, I feel like I just like have a lot of thoughts, like recipes, things I want to share. And one of the girls that I was with, she was like, oh my God, like you should call it Tanya Tastes. And I was like, how cute. I love that. And so I kind of like kept it in the back of my mind, and I was like, okay, maybe. Then got back from abroad. Obviously it was like, lived in like the sorority house for a little bit, and like that was very hard because then I was like full on vegan, like
I like fully remember talking to you in the kitchen so many times, and I'm like, what are you gonna eat today? Like,
I would make the weirdest concoctions.
like
and
we had like bagels and all the cereal that said it was gluten free and none of it was gluten free.
Oh my God, that was very hard. Yeah, because also during the time that I was vegan, dealing with all these stomach issues, I also like convinced myself that I was gluten intolerant, which is just, if you're like any girly that's like had weird vibes with food, I feel like at one point you've convinced yourself you are dairy and gluten intolerant,
Yeah,
which is just like, I am neither of the two for sure. But at the time, yeah, definitely slipped into like just this very obsessive, like, if you want to put a label on it, like maybe like orthorexic food mindset. And it was, even though I was like passionate about it and I loved food and I loved cooking and I loved all these things, like it just wasn't coming from the best place. And it was very like, just not necessarily healthy. And
Yeah. But that just shows like the power of social media, because like everything looked great, sounds great. You're like plant-based mindset and everything, but like internally you weren't in the best spot.
No. And even especially like when I started Tanya Taste, and like I have very amazing friends, like my best friends, and like they would like talk to me about it in like such a nice and healthy way. And I'm so grateful for them, because they were like the first ones to be like, hey, like, is this coming from the best place? Like, are you okay? Like, are you doing that? And then I started therapy. So I was like very open with my therapist about, the things I was feeling around food and like negative thoughts I was having and how it was like so tied to like body image and all of that. And just, being a young woman is hard as it is. But yes, I 100% agree that like the power of social media, like it's so easy to be like, oh, look at that. Like I'm so healthy. I'm doing all this stuff. Like I'm cooking all the time. Like I was like on this like weird power trip of like, oh, like go me. And then realizing it was like just, not coming from the healthiest mindset. So it was very, very interesting.
And you're like, no one actually cares if I'm vegan or not.
No.
Like, it's just like, they just care that food, like just fueling.
Yeah, that it's just fueling. So I think, like, fast forward, I was definitely like going through a lot with all of that, but started to like come out of the mindset a little bit more. And then I moved to New York, and I've told this story. Like, I was eating a bagel on TikTok once, and I told this story. Like, New York bagels are what single-handedly brought me out of me pretending to be gluten intolerant, because
you ate one and you're like, wait.
I ate one, and I was like, unfortunately, I will need to be eating one of these every single week. And so I was like, I'm not allergic to gluten. And I started eating it, and I was like, oh my God, I'm fine. And so we were like talking about just kind of like other reasons I love New York and like why it really pulled me out of like a weird food mindset, like more than I would know, because we were talking about group dining is such a big thing here, like just going out to dinners with your friends, like eating bagels, like all this stuff. Like I just stopped demonizing food as much, and I was like realizing how fun it was, like how much like it became a social thing. And it took me a while because I was still vegetarian, and then I became pescatarian, and then like probably like a couple months ago finally started like eating everything. And there was part of me that was really hard, because I was like, I felt that I was like, oh, like doing a good thing, like feeling, I don't know, environmentally friendly also for being vegetarian. And I didn't want to feel like I was like disappointing myself and like the world by not being vegetarian. So that was like hard for me to start eating meat again.
Was it hard on your body at all?
Actually, no. Like got asked that a lot when I was like, oh, I was, vegetarian for like 3 years or whatever.
I'm sure you did it slowly.
Yeah, I think the slow reintroduction definitely helped a lot. And then also just because I ate it, like ate everything growing up.
Yeah.
So I think it didn't actually like bother me as much. But yeah, the reintroduction was like not bad. And now also just like feeding yourself day to day is hard. Like, especially for one, like buying groceries for one is hard, I was saying, but like cooking sometimes for one is hard. So I think just reintroducing everything was slightly out of convenience, which maybe, I mean, that's just like very honest. Like it was,
I mean, you need more protein.
Yeah.
Like you want to like stay full, feel good.
Yeah, feel good. And like it was very just like, I just was like, God, I just want to make a turkey wrap for lunch. Like I can't think of like something. I was like, I just can't think of something like thrilling. And like that's also as Tanya Tastes kind of started to evolve, because it was started off as like all recipes, like just my food, and that's really when it like, I feel like took off for the first time. Like I moved to New York and I gained like 11,000 Instagram followers.
I mean, no, you're killing it. Like,
thank you.
I vividly, I texted you about it. I remember I like went to your page one day and you had like 20,000 followers, and I was like, what happened?
No, it was crazy. It like very much happened fast, and it was all just because I was like sharing recipes, like algorithm promoting you.
Well,
like,
also your like New York content is amazing.
Thank you. No, New York helped that too. I think like just being in a new place, like sharing life here, sharing food here, like people really liked that, and like, you know, like I said, like algorithm promoting you, whatever. But then kind of as my relationship with food started to evolve, like, and I actually snapped out of this like food obsessive mindset, like I realized that even though like I loved Tanya Tastes, like she was contributing to that. Like it was keeping me in this like mindset of like just being like overly obsessed, like looking at everything I was eating, like being so like, I don't know, just too honed in on it. And so that's kind of, as I started to snap out of that, is when Tanya Tastes started to become a little bit more like lifestyle-y. Like I was like, okay, I don't want to share like recipes exactly what I'm eating every day. Like it just like started to feel weird to me. And that was definitely hard because it also, then the page started to like very much plateau, because when you're not, you know, sharing the content that you've been sharing for a year, like people don't love it as much. Like people will fall off, people will unfollow you. And so I dealt a lot with like, I felt like I'd built this page up and I was so happy about it. And then, you know, it just like, it stopped growing as much. And I was like feeling insecure about it. But I stood very true to myself because about like, I couldn't just make it a full food page. Like it had to be, I was like, I have to just mix in other things. Like I have to switch the content up. It can't just be like, in order for me to keep this like healthier mindset now that I have around food, I was like, it can't be my sole purpose anymore. So yes, that might have been really long-winded.
No,
but
that's what I wanted you to share though, because it's very honest and just, there's so many other people that probably feel that way.
Those are the very hard truths of Tanya Tastes. So yeah, definitely like in, not summary, but like, I guess it's just what's the phrase? Like, it's not always what you see or something. Life's not always what it seems like. I don't know. That was terrible.
I know what you're going at.
That was giving nothing.
That's what you make.
Yeah, maybe that. That was good.
Hannah Montana.
Yeah, so I think it's, now I can like very confidently say that like I'm in the best food mindset I've been in my whole life. Like I eat everything. I don't think that much about things. I'm like, can go out with my friends happily. I can, you know, cook what I want. I can not cook. I can share. I can not share. Like I was talking about growth earlier, and like, I just think I'm so proud of myself, like, with how far I've come. And like,
you should be.
Thank you. It's like, it's just been like very big for me, and very like, just a lot of growth in the past couple of years. And like, I love Tanya Tastes for what it is now. Now I also do like a lot of little like lifestyle apartment video clips. So like just kind of my day-to-day like morning routine, like I'll film that. So I still like keep food incorporated into it for sure. Like still sharing restaurants, still sharing recs, like all of that.
I mean, you still eat every day, so it's easy to like put it in there.
But I'm definitely not always like, I feel like especially when I was vegan and like living in my old apartment, I was like crafting up these incredible dinners. Like I was doing like making butternut squash pizza, and I'm like, I'm not doing that. Yeah, for sure. I'm still cooking, and I'm still loving cooking.
You're having like yogurt, your turkey wraps, salmon curry, like such normal food.
Yeah, very, very just like more normal. And I think like also simplifying my food, like, and that was like a very hard thing, because like simplifying it, and then I was like, but it's not exciting for social media anymore. Like,
but it's also real.
It became more real. Like I realized how much I was just like, I was doing things like for show, and I wasn't actually doing what felt good to me. And so I'm grateful for the journey.
Yeah.
I'm grateful for the journey. Yeah.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
Lake supports you. Casey supports you.
Thanks, Casey. I love my fans.
They're over here dancing.
I know. They're very great vibes.
Well, yeah. Is there anything else you want to share about your journey? I mean, I think you covered it very well.
Oh my God, thank you. Yeah, I feel like I covered everything. I'm like, I don't know if I'm leaving anything out.
No,
but
it's okay. Plug yourself now.
Oh my God. Okay, yes. So I have a food Instagram. It's Tanya, Tanya _Tastes. I share a lot about like life in New York, where I'm going out to eat, like relationships, like life, you know, different things here. I do share recipes still from time to time, so like definitely keep eyes out for those. But yes, like I said, they're a little bit more like just everyday, easier, like things you might just have lying around in your kitchen.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love doing it. It's become like such a fun hobby for me. Like it's also the best community. Like I've met a lot of really great people, and just like especially with my job, I feel like I have to like tap into people in like the foodie, wellness, New York lifestyle-y space. So it's been great to like connect with people that way, and just if you don't already follow me, you can.
Yes, follow Tanya Tastes.
Yeah, I feel like it's some quality content.
Oh, it is for sure.
Thank you.
Yes.
You can glimpse into the New York City vibes.
Well, thank you for coming on.
Oh my God, thank you for having me. This was so much fun. This is the
is.
first podcast I've ever been on. I loved this.
First of many.
Oh my
hope.
God, I hope. Yay. Thanks, Corey. Thanks, team.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks. Bye.